People, welcome to the new show that's just starting up. I am the new, I'm the Black Recommender, your host, Buddy Black, and I'm going to be bringing a uplifting voice, empowerment to the Black community. We're going to celebrate unity. We're going to hope to foster, inspire, growth, champion conversation, build strength and solidarity so we can thrive and become empowered together. That's what I plan to bring here. The new show here is called the Black Recommender, and I chose that name because I want to make sure that people understand that I have a little bit to offer. I want to be sure that everyone understands that the Black community needs help. The Black community needs people to step up and do what's right. And I've been thinking about for years to start a channel, and I just haven't done it. I've been putting it off, but I think I have something to add to the conversations that are going on out there. And we're going to start this first broadcast, episode 1, with We Built This Country. And when I say we, who are we talking about? When I say we built this country, who can claim to have built the United States of America? Okay. Before I get into that, I would just like to share with you exactly what I want to talk about on this episode. I'm going to be talking about FBA, what it means. A lot of people don't know what that means, Foundation of Black Americans. I'm going to be talking about issues at hand today, what's in the news today, the Fat Joe controversy. A lot of people talking about that. And I'm going to end it out with delineation. Why we need to delineate in this country. I am foundation. I'm a foundation of Black American. I was born in Alabama, and you probably hear my twang. And I used to run from that, but I'm proud of that now. At my age, I've been around for a little while, and I think I got something to say. So let's get into the conversation. So FBA, Foundation of Black Americans. Like I said, a lot of people don't know what that means. I talk to a lot of my relatives, a lot of people that I get into political conversations with from time to time, and a lot of people are just not up to snuff when it comes to what's going on in social media today. I don't call myself to be a professional at that. I don't call myself to be like these young people are. They're really into it. They're on their phones all the time. But I do know, I try to keep up with current events when it concerns Black people. And I do know that there's a new media out there now. The new Black media, the old Black media, they have not served us well. They've helped our colonizers. They've helped our oppressors to basically keep us in our place. And we haven't really progressed over the centuries, over the, I would say, decades in my lifetime. So I want to say this about Foundation Black Americans. We built the country, Black people, Black Americans, people who can trace their lineage back to slavery, to the killing fields of the South. We can, if you can do that, you are a foundation of Black Americans. If you have aunts, or not aunts, but if you have great grandmothers, grandfathers who told you those stories about, slavery, about what their grandparents told them, and somehow or another those stories were passed down. If you can remember those conversations, you're probably a foundation of Black Americans. But to prove it, you're going to have to be able to show that your census, that you're on, that you can trace your ancestry back to the 1870 census. 1870 census. And most Black Americans can do that. And also, if you have a last name that's European, or you probably can say that you're FBA. Not always, but If your name is John Robinson or Robert Johnson or Paul Peters, that last name is a European name. So somehow or another, even if you were indigenous to this land and you weren't brought over here on a ship and you've been over here for hundreds of years, but you were just wrapped up and caught up in that slavery, um, they put a name on you. So that right there lets you know that you're probably foundational, but that's not how they're going to prove and give out those reparations when we get them. So you're going to have to be able to be able to trace your lineage back to the 1870 census. At least that's what most people in the reparations movement are saying, and most people can do that with just a little research. So, foundational Black Americans, what does it mean? Who we are? Wow, foundational Black American, foundational. That's a powerful word right there. Foundational. What does it mean? It means that you built something. It means that you built the country. It means that you built America. America would not be the superpower that it is today had it not been for foundational Black Americans. We have finally found a word that represents power, that represents us in a positive way, and it's undeniable. It is not um, a word that's just happenstance. Um, it's a word that has been thought out and been tried and stood the test of times since the little time that it's been um, um, discovered. But it's a strong word, foundational Black American. Now, Tariq Nasheed coined the phrase foundational Black American after he had talked or had discussed some things with Claude Anderson, Dr. Claude Anderson. He's one of our elders. He had talked about Native Black Americans, and people were trying to trick back. They were trying to latch on to that. A lot of people who do not have foundational Black American lineage, were trying to latch on to that Native. So we had to find something that was unique to Black Americans and foundational. The first, without the foundation, you cannot build a house. The foundation of this country, foundational Black Americans. That's a powerful statement. So when y'all hear this, please latch on to it, uh, research it, find out who's talking about that, and you'll see it's going to be people just like you. And you'll realize that wow, I am a foundational Black American. Um, so reparations is what it's all about. We have got to get reparations, y'all. Foundation Black Americans, we are the ones who are owed reparations. No other groups in this country are owed reparations like we are because of what was done to our ancestors, and that's a debt paid. Everybody's gotten reparations except us. Jewish Americans gotten reparations. The Asian Americans gotten reparations. The Indians have gotten reparations. Foundation Black Americans, we have not gotten our reparations, and it seems like they don't want to give it to us because it's owed to us. Uh, but Foundation of Black America is a movement that we're pushing to forge to forward the movement of reparations, trying to get reparations. Um, and we're going to get those reparations, whether you all want to believe it or not. We're going to get them. It may not be in my lifetime, but we're going to get reparations. And reparations have already been given out, and it will start to have been given out back in the 1800s, 18 I think 60s, 1865, 66 after the war, Civil War, 1870s. The reparations were given out during Reconstruction until they assassinated Lincoln, and then all hell broke loose, and they stopped it. Andrew Jackson came in and put a stop to it. But the FBA movement is a movement that is pushing reparations. So a lot of people don't agree with that, and we will down the road talk about that. We'll get into that later on in further shows, other shows down the road. We will talk about all the things that we need to know and learn about this particular topic. But Foundational Black Americans, For you all who are hearing this for the first time, please embrace it, study it, understand it. You cannot. It's not a club. It's not a social club. It's not an organization. You can't corrupt it. You cannot assassinate it. You cannot trick bag it. You cannot corrupt it. It's a lineage. It's a lineage. In other words, you have to be born into it. You can't join it. You have to be born into it. And that's the power of it. Foundation of Black Americans. So do the research, find out the history and how it came about, and embrace it, and understand that it connects Black Americans together so that we can move forward and get what is owed to us. Not a handout. Reparations are owed to us because of the bloodshed, all of the lynchings, the hangings, everything that they did to Black people in this country, who parents were parents or grandparents or great grandparents. How far you have to go back? All the things that was done to them that that has to be paid for. That is a debt that this country will have to pay for at some time. And down the road, we will have other episodes, and we'll talk about how much is owed. We'll get into all of that. But to wrap up this particular segment, FBA, Foundation of Black Americans, what I can just tell you is that Black Americans, you know who you are. Find out, embrace this term, Foundation of Black Americans. See what it is, see what it's all about. Understand that it's us. It's what binds us together. It is what gives us our culture. It gives us our juju, if you want to say. It gives us our sauce, that special sauce. That when you see another Black person, you dap them up, or you see another Black person, you nod your head. Brothers out there, you understand what that is. That means that, hey, I got your back, man. Anything go down, I got your back. We are Foundation of Black Americans. We are powerful, and we're going to get our reparations. And the reparations that we're going to get are reparations that are owed to us. The reparations is about, at some estimates, put it at about 20 trillion, 20, 23, 24, 25 trillion dollars. It's not a lot of money. The banking industry, when they bailed the banking industry out, it was about 29 trillion. Guess what they did? They wrote that debt off. We hadn't, and most Americans don't even know that we wrote it out. That crisis in 2008 was about $29 trillion. They don't wrote it off. They just canceled the debt. So they can write a check for $20 trillion for Foundation of Black Americans and write it out tomorrow. The country keep on moving, won't even feel it. But they will feel it, because when you give that kind of money to Black people, we're going to spend it, we're going to invest it, we're going to empower our people, and this country is going to it's going to thrive. So understand, reparations is good for everybody. It's going to be good for white people, Black people, all types of people, because the wrong is going to be made right, and we're going to be on the verge of helping our people decrease the homeless population and get us to where we need to be, so that we can finally contribute the way we should be able to contribute to this country, and not be oppressed by the oppressive system in this country. So the reparation that we're going to get is reparations that the United States government is going to pay, and they're going to pay them in the form of cash. We do not want land. We do not want checks. We can buy our own land. No, we'll take checks. I'm sorry. We will take checks, but we don't need land. We don't need vouchers. We don't need education. We got plenty of that. We need money. That's what was taken and stolen from us. Generational wealth is created by money, having things, owning things, buying stuff. So the reparation that we're going to get basically is going to be in the form of money. Money. Cut the check. Dr. King even said it. We're coming to Washington, D.C. to get our check. So that's what reparations is. So we're going to go into our next topic, and that's going to be what's in the news today. What's making headlines today? Fat Joe. Fat Joe's in the news today. Wow, Fat Joe. Let's see. I did a little research. Fat Joe hit the scene around, it was early 90s. Early 90s. He's 54 years old, born in 1970. And he stepped in some doo-doo. I used to like his song, Fall Back or whatever it was. Yeah, I think it's called Fall Back or whatever it's called. Um, but lean back, lean back. Thank you, thank you. Lean back, lean back. It had a good beat to it, but Fat Joe stepped into it. What's the ruckus? What's all this people talking about Fat Joe? What is it? Fat Joe made mention he came at one of the premier producers of the new black media, Jason Black and Mr. Tariq Nasheed, although he called them foundational black authority, foundational black authority, and we all know people who are in the know that it's the black authority, and it's and Tariq created the foundational black Americans, but he got it all intertwined. But either way, Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black knew that he was talking about them, and I'm talking about he called them out. So what did he do basically? What did he say? Well, he's been in it for a little while now. He's been talking really ratchet toward black people. In fact, Joe, he's a Puerto Rican. He's a white Puerto Rican. He is not black, y'all. Black people. Fat Joe is not black. He put that spray on beard, and he hangs around a lot of black people, but he is not black. There have been people who said that they've heard Fat Joe in conversation using the N word, nigga, 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 nigga. And to me, if you or anybody other than a black person, you can't use that term. You cannot use that term. Indian, Asian, white, Puerto Rican, Dominican. And when I say Dominican, I mean white Dominican or white Asian, not Afro Asian, not Afro Latina. You got nappy hair. You have shouldn't say nappy. That's a derogatory term. If you have coarse hair, you have kinky hair, curly hair, melanated skin. What does that mean? That means that you're Afro American, you're foundational Black American, or you're Black American, or you're Black Jamaican, or Black African, or whatever. Yeah, you can say, but because it's endearing, it's a term of endearment. But when you're of the white persuasion, it is derogatory and it's negative. So you cannot use that word. But the main issue that got Fat Joe in trouble is he doubled down on it. And Fat Joe said that black people are racist. Now I know Fat Joe hasn't been paying attention to black people in the last 10, 15 years. Everybody know that black people cannot be racist. Black people cannot be racist. You have to be able to have power. And when I say power, I don't just mean financial. I mean you have to have systematic institutional power to be racist. You have to be able to control the people. You have to be able to hire and fire people. You have to be able to control judicial court systems to be able to lock people up, whether they're guilty or not. We don't have that kind of power in this country. Um, Black people cannot be racist. So when I heard that, I knew right then and there, oh, Fat Joe is not black. He's not black. If you are black, you know, black people don't have that kind of power. So the oppressors want to think that we have that kind of power, but we don't. And they get it mixed up with the fact that if you call somebody out their name, then oh, you must be a racist. But no, no, that's not a racist. A racist is someone who can is a group of people who can control the narrative when it comes to locking your tail up or denying you a loan on an application or um, basically making it so that they can systematically oppress your people, oppress and keep you out of a institution or keep you out of a field or job market. There are nine different areas of that they can keep you out of, according to Mr. Neely Fuller. Um, and it's law, entertainment, sex, war, um, and it's nine of them. I don't have them all right now. we will come back to this at a later time on another show, and I'll list all of them to you. But there are several levels of different levels that black white supremacy and all that is controlled, and that control people of color, black people. Uh, so we'll come back to that at a later time. Social media basically is a powerful tool today. Social media influencers today have a lot of power because they control the narrative, and it's something that we haven't had in the past. Used to be before we had to basically have a well, we didn't have it because all media was controlled by a few stations, and blacks didn't own any of those stations. And even if they owned them, it was geared toward the black population in order to stay viable. So it wasn't until social media came about and YouTube and all Google and all these other entities, Facebook, um, Instagram came about that we're not able to communicate with one another somewhat unchecked. So black people, we can get information out to each other so that we can finally realize and talk about. We can check. In other words, we can check paperwork. We can check. We can compare notes. Uh, North, south, east, west. We can compare notes and see what's going on. TikTok, all these different entities now allow us to communicate with one another. So it used to be that they could like control the narrative, which is what Fat Joe is trying to do. And the gist of Fat Joe, let me just say this, guys. We're short on time. The gist of what's going on with Fat Joe is that Fat Joe is he's a Latino, and he's a Cuban Latino, white, and they're trying to position themselves so that they can steal hip hop from foundational Black Americans, but they can't because we're pushing back on this because we know our power, we know what we've created. Hip hop is Black culture, it's Black American. We're not going to give it up without a fight. We're not going to give it up, but they want to take it so bad. It's like that's what a lot of people do. A lot of groups come in and they'll come in and they'll uh, collaborate with you and partner with you, and even though you have all the creativity and you create everything, they'll come in before you know it. They'll be 50-50 with, they'll want to be 50-50 with, when really it's only a 199 because they don't really have the creativity that we have. But in the end, they'll wind up trying to own it and control it and take it from you. So we have to gatekeep our culture. So Fat Joe, the hoopla about Fat Joe is basically a way that the majority society, they're trying to come in and steal another genre. They're trying to steal our culture. They're trying to culture vulture our culture, and we're just not going to have it. We're pushing back, and that's good. So for those of you all who did not know, that's what the hoopla is about. And it's not just Fat Joe by himself. Eminem, you know, Eminem, the greatest rapper of all time. Can you believe they had the nerve to tell us that? Who else? Who got in some deep trouble recently? Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes said that black people didn't have any culture. Wow, black people don't have any culture, and his ticket sales have dropped and flopped ever since then. Uh, no culture. Wow, black people are the culture of America, of the world. No black culture, Black American culture. You don't have any culture. We created all. We put all the sauce on it. We put all the rhythm into it. All the genre, country music, you name it. From food, KFC, the Honey Bun Man, the Flowers Bakery. Yeah, everything is black. Everything. But they come in and they steal and they take, they buy, and they colonize and they make sure that you don't own nothing. And so, we're just tired of it. We're pushing back on this, and we're not having it anymore. We're going to make sure that what's ours is ours and it stays ours. We're going to gatekeep. You're not going to come in and tell us that no, we did it together, and then 5, 10 years down the road, we won't be anywhere in the picture. You did it. It was created by you. No, we've seen that show before. Not going to happen this time. So, black people, Close ranks. It's time to close ranks and keep what's ours, because we tried it in the past and it doesn't work. The other groups, they always come in trying to take what we got and make it theirs, and don't ever give us any credit. You don't believe it? Do your research, do your history. You will see that that's the case. So we have got to be able to gatekeep our culture, gatekeep hip hop, gatekeep our genre, so that we can um, um, keep our culture. Basically, keep our culture. So that's what's going on with Fat Joe. That's in the headlines, and Fat Joe. It's it's it. Fat Joe really, he he's getting a lot of backlash now. He really didn't realize. I guess he didn't calculate that this was gonna hit him this hard. I guess he thought most of people were gonna be on his side. But check this out. I think a lot of these people who are not from our lineage, who are from all these other countries, or from the Caribbean, or from Africa, or whatever, Puerto Rico, or whatever, I think what it is, they try to get what they can from black people, and they're looking. It's like they're coming in, they're seeing if they can learn something, and seeing if they can exploit it, and with the plan to take it, and they're just looking at you, trying to see if you can detect what they're trying to do, and they're looking with a side eye, looking like, do they really know I'm coming here trying to take over what it is? And if they don't get an impression that you know what it is they're doing, they'll come in hard, boy, hard, and they will come in, they'll colonize, and they'll take your stuff. So black people, we have got to get to the point where when we see them, you gotta understand that they're only there for one reason, and that's the culture vulture. That's the culture. That's to steal your culture. We got to close ranks. We have got to close ranks, people. Got to close ranks. Make sure that we do what we need to do to keep our culture at hand. Um, Fat Joe has a lot of time with these groups. They have they're forced to make an apology, um, um, but sometimes they won't do it because they don't know where the wind is blowing. So that's why they're always trying to see if they can just come in and steal our culture, and then they throw up a finger and just see which way the wind is blowing, to see if they can we get away with this. We're gonna get some blowback on this, and that's all this is about. Fat Joe is the people who said Fat Joe, which is the white media and the white powers that be, who are trying to basically capitalize and see if they can make hip hop their own because it's so profitable now. Um, and I want to speak on something that somebody asked a question. Um, if he had said something negative about any other group of people, he would have been forced to make an apology. That's exactly right. Jews. If he had talked about other Hispanics, Asians, yeah, but somehow or another they don't feel that they have to do it to black people. And this is a new day now. Yeah, we are able to check people now to make sure that we're not going to be disrespected anymore in our country. You're in our country, bro. You're not in Puerto Rico. You're in our country. And I know Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, but that's not our culture. This is foundation of Black American culture. So when you're over here, when you're in Rome, you're supposed to act like the Romans. And I think Fat Joe did not get the memo. So we have got to gatekeep, and we got to make sure that these people respect our culture and respect our people, so that we can continue to keep what we built and we worked so hard for. And that is our music. Our music is the culture. Our music exudes the culture. Music basically motivates the culture, and it's pushed by the young people. So I just would like to say that, hey, people, Foundation of Black Americans, understand who you are. You have power. You built this country, and do not let other people come in and tell you um, you don't have any culture. The nerve of these people. All right, we're going to go into the next segment now. The next segment we're going to talk about is delineation. Delineation. Let's see. Let's see what that word is. Delineation. What does it mean? Let me see what the dictionary definition of delineation is. Okay, here it is. Delineating is important because it clearly defines and marks the boundaries of something. Wow, clearly defines and marks the boundaries of something. Okay, delineation. Okay, as Black people, as foundational Black Americans, um, and the reason I am so glad we finally came up with the term to describe Black people in this country, because we're the only group that hadn't gotten what we're supposed to get. That's our reparation. We're going to have to delineate why. Let me ask you. Let me ask this to the general audience out there that's listening. Have you ever noticed that when you turn on the TV and you're watching a program or something, you're watching a news program, and you see people that look like you, and they're talking against something that can benefit the community, that can benefit you, benefit their people, and they're talking against it? You have to wonder. Over the years, I've just always, man, why come that Black person, or why come that person is talking against their best interest? And you know something? I'm talking about, this has been going on for decades, y'all. Why is it that they do that? And do you know what we found out in the new Black media? Now, the old Black media never did tell us. They never did tell us what was going on because they were part of it. They were trying to get up under white supremacy and live under it. But the average Black person can't do that because we got that hair and we got that melanin in our skin. But these other groups try to come in and get as close as they can or get up under the wing of white supremacy and try to survive. But guess what? Whenever you hear Black people, listen to me now, but Foundation of Black Americans, listen to me. Whenever you see a Black person anywhere talking raggedy or talking against their own issue, against their own community, you got to check the paperwork. What does that mean? Ask the question: where are they from? Who are your people? Who are your parents? Who are your parents' parents? Where did you come from? Where are you from? Once you start asking those questions, you're gonna find out if they talking raggedy against Black people. It's probably because they're not foundation Black Americans. They're either gonna be from Africa or they're gonna be from the Caribbean. So, but just think about that, y'all. Think about that. Okay, you're Black and you come to another Black person's country, and they're trying to get something that can help their community. And you're going to come over there and talk negative and try to tell them that they don't deserve what's owed to them. You got some damn nerve. That's what a lot of groups do when they come to America. They come over here and they tell us what we can't get. You don't need no reparations. You don't need to be paid for what your ancestors had to work hard and died from lynching and died from abuse and rapes and all that. You don't need it. Can you imagine me going, or any Black person going to Kenya or going to Jamaica or going to Nigeria, and whatever European power that colonized that particular country, going over there, when the people over there on the ground, they're working and they're trying to get reparations, or they're trying to get some benefits that the colonizers that at that time took from those people, and they're trying to get something passed. And I go over there as an American and say, y'all don't need that. Y'all don't need to be repatriated by the Europeans or by the British government. You don't need that. The hell you say? They probably run me out of there. They probably, man. So we're only doing what is humanly makes sense. The first rule of what is it? What is it? The first law of self-preservation is the first law of nature. The first law of nature is self-preservation. I'm not going to go to somebody else's country and tell them what they shouldn't get. So how do you think you should be able to come over to our country and tell us what we can't get? And who I'm talking about? I'm talking about uh, Caribbean, Afro Americans. I'm talking about Africans. I'm talking about people who have melanin, people who have our hair coming over, and people who look like us talking against something that we should get. You don't have the right. You're in another country. You don't have the right to say it, to do it. You don't have the right. It's disrespectful to do it. Very disrespectful to do it. Um, just because you're skin folks don't mean you're kin folks. Black people, we got to get that. Just because people are skin folks, they're not kin folks. They'll sell you out in a heartbeat. Your own people sell you out in a heartbeat. We have coons in this country that sell us out, but we check our coons. But what's happening is people in these other countries, from these other countries outside of the United States, melanated people are coming over here and they see their coons doing what we're doing, trying to stop our progress. And the people who know better don't say anything to check their coons. So we're calling on all Caribbean people, all African people who see your people off code, exhibiting off code behavior. Y'all have got to check your people. You have got to check these people. You cannot be in our circle and let these people get away with telling us what we can get, and they don't have our lineage. It's insane. If we get reparations, it's gonna help all melanated people. Why? Because if we get our money, we're gonna have more money to come and spend in your businesses if you have them over here, sir or ma'am. You gotta understand that. So I want melanated people who don't have the lineage, who do not have the FBA lineage, to start checking your people when they're talking raggedy towards foundational Black Americans. And the only reason we're having to delineate is because too many people are coming over and they are trying to eat off foundational Black Americans, eat off of us, and they're talking sideways about us, or they're trying to muddy the waters, or trying to keep us from getting what's ours. And that is wrong, and we're just not having it anymore. So we're going to have to delineate. We're going to have to let it be known that, okay, wait a minute, it ain't Black people doing that. A lot of these crimes being committed by Black people, those Black people are not foundational Black Americans. Yeah, they're from other countries. We don't. There's some ratchet stuff that Black Americans just don't do. I saw this video not too long ago where it was at a hotel, and I don't think it was in America. I think it was somewhere overseas. And this Black boy had some paint on his face, and there was some white people coming into the lobby, and he was letting this little white boy ride on his back, and he was walking on all fours like a monkey. And all the white people were standing around looking at him, just laughing, taking pictures. I'll put my life on it. No, I won't put my life on it because we have some crazy coons over here too. But let me put it like this here: it's gonna be almost a whole day in hell for a Black person to let a white person get on their back and ride them and have you walking like a monkey and let other white people take pictures of it. We just don't do that. It's not gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen because they know that they will be embarrassed if their people find out about that. We know what we've come through in this country. There is no way it's gonna happen. So I'm just saying we have different codes, man. We have different rules. You're gonna have to understand who they are and what they've done and why we don't do that. Please, please, people, African people of other countries, that's off code behavior. You got to get on code. What does getting on code mean? Getting on code means that you got to do what's going to uplift Black people. You're going to be for Black empowerment. You got to be for constructivity. If it's not constructive, don't do it. If it's not going to make your people look in a better light, don't do it. You're off code. You're off code. We just see people that look like us and assume that they're FBA. Right. We assume that they're FBA. But they don't have our interests at heart. They're coming over here trying to get a bag. They have fled from countries to come over to our country and do what they've done over there. The governments in those countries, although it's changing, I see it. I see it, Africa. You're changing over there. But a lot of those countries over there, the culture is sell out. take the money and steal the money. Don't put it back into the people. Don't educate your people, and just do whatever you can and try to get as wealthy as you can as a government official or as someone who or who's in the know or in the in 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 the bureaucracy. Take the money instead of spending it on roads and highways and schools to help make your country better. Take that money and try to make yourself look good. Send your kids to private school. You fly all over the world, and your country's the hell. The Russian president said that the African country is full of graves of the leaders. The leaders, they travel all over the world, but when they get ready to die, they come back to Africa and be buried in Africa. But they ain't doing nothing to try to build Africa. Now, uh, y'all gonna have to start checking that. Y'all flee or run to America, but you don't do anything in your own country. Check these leaders. Don't run. Make these people do what they're supposed to do. We've had to do it here, and we still do it. We still have to check our coon. You got to check your coon. Don't run from your homeland. Build up your homeland like we've done over here. And we are not the majority. In America, black people are not the majority. We're the minority over here, and we are the only group of people on. We're the only melanated, the only black group of people on the planet that fights white supremacy. All these other countries don't fight white supremacy, and they have majorities. Will somebody please explain that to me? How is that possible? How can it be that only black Americans fight white supremacy? As a group, I'll put it like that. There are individuals in other countries that are fighting it. But as a group, black people in America, foundation of black Americans who have the history of building this country, we fight white supremacy. What does that mean? That means that we check white supremacy. You're not gonna come over and tell a black person if we can help it and just do anything that you want to do to us. It's just not gonna happen. We may not be able to have the money to fight you back, but we're gonna get together and we're gonna raise hell. We're gonna embarrass you. We're gonna write. We're gonna email. We're gonna try to boycott if we can. We don't do enough of that. We need to do more of it. Uh, we just don't do it. So I'm here to tell you, we're we're having to delineate for a reason. It's not because we wanted to. It's just because we're just tired of people who look like us, who are doing things to undermine black people in this country and all the things that we built, all the things that we've set in place to even allow immigrants to come over to this country, to allow other groups from other melanated groups to come over here. When those laws were first set up, they were trying not to let black groups come into this country. They only wanted to allow white groups, but we fought tooth and nail to allow other black ethnic groups to come to America. And now when these groups get over here, they don't even respect that, and they try to talk sideways and talk against us. So people, it's going to get to a point, and it's getting to a point that where if you're not foundation of Black America, we're just not going to support you. We're not going to come to your restaurants. We're not going to buy your car. We're just not going to do it unless we know you're riders. You ride or die. You're going to have to start showing us that you ride or die, and it's coming soon because Trump's coming in a few days. Trump is coming in, and he's going to get all these immigrants up out of here. Now, I got friends who are immigrants. I got people who are immigrants that I know that I work with, and they're good people. Do I want them to go back? No, because I've developed a relationship with them. But I don't know their politics because I don't talk politics on the job. But let me share something with you. I need to hear more immigrants checking their people when it comes to this kind of stuff. They need to be checking. If you're not checking them, then that means that you're agreeing with. So we're gonna have to just start as Foundation of Black Americans just stop supporting you. If you're not down with us and you're trying to come against us, we're gonna have to just stop supporting you. Point blank. We're gonna have to. We're gonna be forced to. So please, people, delineate. We have got to set boundaries. We got to let people know that we're different. Foundational Black Americans are different from other melanated people. We think differently. We have different values. We have other things that we think are more important. We don't necessarily just We don't want to just get under the wing of white supremacy and just try to live up under there at the expense of all our people. So I want you all to understand that going forward. We are now coming up on the end of our program. I hope you've enjoyed this first program. And I want to just go over some things that we've learned today. We've learned what FBA is. FBA, what is FBA? Foundation of Black Americans. Can you trace your lineage back to the 1870 census? Do your parents or their parents come from the killing fields of the South? Were they enslaved? Um, did they get land that was given out during the Reconstruction after the Civil War? If you can do that, then you're probably Foundation of Black Americans, and you're owed some of that $20 trillion when we get it. Also, we talked about Fat Joe. Fat Joe, understand what's going on. They're trying to steal black culture, just like they stole rock and roll from us, just like they stole country from us. They're trying to steal that. So what we got to do, we got to make sure that that don't happen. And how do we do it? We got to check people like Fat Joe, like Busta Rhymes, who come out and say we don't have culture. Who are those black people who are racist? That's crazy talk. We have got to check these people. Also, delineation. We have to delineate black people. Why? Because our survival depends on it. There are people out there that are not for our good. They're out to destroy us, and they look just like we do. We're going to have to check them, and we did check them in this last election. We were supposed to vote for Kamala Harris just because she was a woman. Kamala Harris said she wasn't going to do anything for black people. No, she's not going to do anything for black people. Why would you tell a group of people who is the number one group in your party that you're not going to do anything for them? Lie or something, but don't put it on record that you ain't going to do anything. She was destined to lose. Kamala Harris was destined to lose. I don't want to get off subject, but I just want to let y'all know. And we will have some conversation on this going forward. What do the Democratic Party do next? I'm not a Democrat. I'm a black empowerment crat, if you want to, whatever you want to put it. If you're not down for black empowerment, I'm not for it. I think the Republican and the Democratic Party are the same party. It's the same bird, white supremacy. Whether it's the white right wing or the left wing, it's white supremacy. So I am here to let you know I'm for black empowerment. Black people need to help each other so we can get our people out of the quagmire that they're in. They're in dire straits. We need help. And reparations will fix that, go a long way to fixing that. And we will talk about reparations again in detail and exactly why it's owed to us and why we're going to get it. But I want you all to become a supporter. You can go to theblackrecommender.com and support our channel. You can subscribe, go there and subscribe. I'm going to be getting our PayPal and our Cash App information up on the screen. So those of you, if you like what you hear, you can contribute to this new broadcast. With that, I'm going to probably say that we're going to see you next time. This is Buddy Black. I am so glad I had an opportunity to start this podcast, and I just hope everyone liked what they heard. This is my first one, but I have a lot more coming, a lot of other topics to talk about. I will see y'all next time. I really appreciate you all giving me this opportunity to speak with you. And good night.